Welcome to the first episode of the Drexel Sport Management Student Union's weekly podcast, The Sports Biz Report. I'm Kevin Rossi, and I will be your host for today, while also presenting on sports media. I'm joined today by my panel, Kevin Murray, who will be presenting on sports law, and Greg Monforti, who will be presenting on sports business. Later in the show, we will be joined by head golf pro at Golf Galaxy in Langhorne, PA, Jay Cryer, to talk about the Masters. Now for our first segment, the Roundup. Starting off with the buzz around the sports media world. On Monday, ESPN.com ran an NCAA tournament headline that read, "Fruits of Their Labor," along with a picture of Louisville's Russ Smith and Rick Pitino, and Michigan's Trey Burke and John Beilein. Between the two coaches, Pitino and Beilein, there's nearly $5 million in base salary. The two players make exactly $0, making for quite an ironic headline. The NCAA championship game was played on CBS on Monday night between Louisville and Michigan, and it was a big success for the network. The game received a 14.3 rating, up 18% from last season's game featuring Kentucky and Kansas. Beginning yesterday and continuing through the weekend, the Masters teed off from Augusta National. Both ESPN and CBS will share the call. Jim Nantz will again be the lead broadcaster as he makes the transition from the NCAA championship game on Monday to the Masters this weekend. Sports Business Journal ran an interesting article this week asking the question, does Twitter influence television ratings or does television influence Twitter traffic? The author of the piece, John Oren, SBJ's sports media reporter, said that Twitter's influence on TV ratings may be smaller than we would expect. Definitely an interesting piece to check out if you have the time. And finally, last weekend's Saturday Night Live ran a parody of Outside the Lines, focused on the Mike Rice tapes. Host Melissa McCarthy played Mike Rice, and Bill Hader played the Outside the Lines host. Later in the show, Kenan Thompson gave a hilarious impression of Charles Barkley on Weekend Update. I highly recommend going back and watching both segments. Now over to Kevin Murray with Sports Law.
All right, my name is Kevin Murray, and I'm covering the sport law section of today's podcast. Bud Selig, the MLB commissioner, is refusing to meet with San Jose's mayor, Chuck Reed, to discuss the possible impending move of the Oakland Athletics to San Jose. Selig is pushing the buck off to Rob Starkey, who's a sport consultant who has in the past dealt with transitions of teams and also dealing with construction issues for arenas such as that for the Minnesota Twins. The media members and baseball people alike are claiming that Selig is not serious about this move and the conversations that he would be having with Mayor Reed, and that's the reason why he's kind of ignoring him. The NHL and its players union have announced that they will be partnering with advocacy organization You Can Play Project, which fights homophobia in sports. They will be hosting seminars at rookie symposiums, offering counseling and other personnel to the players there. And they hope to create an inclusive hockey community throughout grassroots efforts, starting with the rookie symposium, and then hoping to move further into the season with other teams and other organizations. The Rutgers fallout continues. Tim Pernetti announced his resignation last week, the former athletic director, after a mountain of pressure fell on him. Don't worry, though. Pernetti isn't hurting that bad. His fall from grace was padded by stacks of dollar bills, 1.2 million of them to be exact. Pernetti's settlement package also includes health care and a car for a year, a continued pension payments, and his iPad and personal laptop, paid for by Rutgers. Rutgers' head lawyer has also resigned in these past few days, in wake of his name being released as the person to sign off on the suspension of former head coach Mike Rice, rather than looking to fire him in December. For more on the Rutgers fallout, you can check out my story on the Sports Complex blog entitled Student Athlete Welfare Continually Put on the Back Burner. Going on with sports law, Jay-Z has announced that he will be selling his $350,000 stake in the Brooklyn Nets so that he can become an NBA agent. Jay-Z's Rock Nation label recently partnered with CAA Creative Artists Agency to add an athletics section to their label. Since this agreement, the label has added two of the biggest athletes in New York City, Yankees Robinson Cano and the Giants Victor Cruz. Jay-Z had a huge part in the move of the Nets from New Jersey to Brooklyn and the complete rebranding of the organization. It will be very interesting to see where this goes in the future for both Jay-Z, Rock Nation, and for his clients that he signs.
Thank you, Kevin. And now over to Greg Monforti for Sports Business News.
So here are some of the top sports business stories from this past week. Robert Griffin III set the single-season jersey sales record for the NFL. This beat out the previous record holder, Brett Favre, with his 2009 Vikings jersey. Peyton Manning this year also came in second overall and third all-time in jersey sales. The Red Sox record sellout streak ended at 820 games this past week. It was 794 regular season games and 820 if you include the playoffs. This streak began all the way back in May 15, 2003, so it's been around for almost 10 years. The Twins were looking to charge $15 for batting practice. As of yesterday, this was apparently a rumor, but they're still looking into it if they're going to. This would allow the fans to come in 45 minutes before the game starts and watch the players' batting practice as like a VIP treatment. There would only be 60 spots available. Also, the Astros are doing this right now for $45, so put that in perspective. The UFC finally has created a code of conduct. This comes after Matt Mitrione's comments on Fallon Fox. This will finally set up a system of rules that they can follow, so they're not just picking and choosing how they punish this guy compared to this guy. So it will be much more uniform with punishments, and the suspensions will actually have a meaning and not just they gave this guy this and this guy that. Finally, Sunrise Sports is looking to get the naming rights deal for Florida Atlantic Stadium. They recently, as of February, became a marketing partner with Florida Atlantic, and now they're looking for the naming rights deal. This comes after they dropped the Geo Group, which was a very big controversy when it first happened, and now they finally got rid of it and looking for a new sponsor.
Thank you for sharing that, Greg, and thank you to our panelists in the roundup section of our podcast. Now we would like to welcome our guest for today, Jay Cryer, the head golf pro at Golf Galaxy in Langhorne, PA. Jay has years of experience as a PGA certified instructor and also on the sales side of the golf industry. With the Masters teeing off this week, Jay is going to talk to us a little bit about the impact that the Masters has on the golf sales industry and also Tiger Woods' impact on the industry. So let's get right to it. Do you guys see kind of an impact around this time of the year in sales, or would you attribute that more to like the weather warming up than the Masters?
It's a combination of both. I mean, Masters obviously brings people out, to the course more, and that gets people excited to go out there and play, especially if you have a good tournament. But it definitely helps our sales in the store.
Do you think Tiger's performance impacts that at all?
Oh God, Tiger runs our business. Tiger runs everything that he helps our retail sales. He helps our rounds played. The whole golf industry depends on Tiger Woods. So when Tiger's doing really well, golf is way up, and then when Tiger's not, golf's on the downfall. So we've seen a spike ever since, especially in Nike products. We've seen a spike in Nike products ever since Tiger started winning this year.
Did you guys see a decline at all when Tiger was, more out of it than he'd been in the past?
No question about it. I mean, definitely, like I said, it helps junior golf when Tiger's involved because younger kids get more motivated to go out and play. The last couple of years have been a mess with regards to, retail sales and, rounds played and everything like that. Participation's been down, so there's been a lot of initiatives from the PGA to kind of get out there and promote golf. They have a new Get Golf Ready program that's trying to drive, new golfers to the game.
Absolutely.
Definitely Tiger's the one who impacts everything.
Making golf cool, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
You said that Nike kind of saw, big increases in their sales because of Tiger. To a different manufacturer, TaylorMade, with their white club head, it's now the most widely used driver on tour. Have you guys seen a big amount of sales driven because of the white driver head?
Oh yeah, I would say like in our store, 7 out of 10 drivers are all white drivers. So it's either TaylorMade R1 or the TaylorMade Rocket Ball. They're the two biggest sellers in the store. So I mean, yeah, obviously you see it on TV too. The consumer sees all these guys playing white drivers, and pretty much TaylorMade's the only one who has an all white driver right now. So
TaylorMade, they've been switching up their their advertisement campaigns a lot lately. Have you guys had any negative effects by that?
With television?
Yeah, because they've been changing it up. They're a lot more fluid with their ad campaigns than a lot of other companies. Have you guys had any negative effects because of that, or not really?
No, I mean, like, obviously people are starting to, question the advertisement they put out about 17 yards longer and stuff like that. But, there's no negative. I mean, I don't really hear negative feedback from television advertisements. We don't really hear about the advertisements in our store.
I guess if everybody went off the, every club is, 10, 12 yards longer, we'd all be hitting like 500 yards by now.
Yeah, exactly. Every year if we gain 5 yards, we're going to be, mile-long holes in a little while.
We'll have 10,000-yard golf courses.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, that just about concludes our time for our podcast today. Thank you, Jay Cryer, head golf pro at Golf Galaxy, for joining us to talk the Masters. And thank you for our panel, which was Kevin Murray presenting on sports law, Greg Monforti presenting on sports business, and myself, Kevin Rossi, your host and presenting on sports media. We'll be back next Friday for episode 2 of the Sports Biz Report. In the meantime, you can check us out online at drexelsmtsu.blogspot.com and follow us on Twitter at Drexel SMTSU.